Toy Story 5 was amazing from start to finish. But do you know what's really surprising? It was revealed that the latest movie featuring Woody, Buzz, and Jessie had a few scenes and characters that were completely cut from the theatrical release. Reunion with Emily. The first scene that left me in shock when I found out it was supposed to be in Toy Story 5, but ended up getting cut, is the emotional reunion between Emily and Jessie. The idea was to follow the same storyline, where Jessie and Bullseye would tag along with Bonnie to Chelsea's house for a slumber party. Except when they were taken by the elderly couple to Emily's old address, upon arriving there, Jessie would recognize the place and sneak into the house just to see if her former owner still lived there. And, somehow not yet specified by Pixar, Emily would find her old ragdoll cowgirl and be incredibly happy. Actually, both of them would be overjoyed. At one point, Emily would introduce Jessie to her daughter and explain to the little girl that she named her after Buzz's girlfriend. Without a doubt, those would be some very emotional scenes. But there would also be another scene involving Emily in her adult phase, too. Inside the box the cowgirl found buried by the tree with the tire swing, there would be some kind of flash drive or memory card that Jessie would take to Blaze's house and access on the girl's dad's computer. Upon seeing the contents, she, Smarty Pants, and their new friends would watch a video showing a beautiful scene of Emily pushing her daughter on the exact same swing she used to play on back when she had Jessie. At a certain moment, Emily would say the girl's name, and that's how Jessie would find out that her old owner had actually named her own daughter after her. For sure, this would be a really cool scene to watch in the movie. But there is still hope that maybe Emily will finally make a real appearance in Toy Story 6. Who knows? Maybe we'll get to see some of these things happen, right? Brace yourself, because we're just getting started. Today we're going to blow your mind. The rescue. Remember that scene in Toy Story 5 where the army of Buzz Lightyears heads into the forest and the animals gather around them, giving off a 100% Snow White vibe for the Space Rangers? So, originally, the filmmaker's idea was that there would be some logic behind this moment, involving a group action from the Buzz action figures where they would save a little bunny that was about to drown in a river. In the scene, the squad of Buzzes would be on their way to Star Command when they spot a lonely rabbit stuck on a rock, totally surrounded by water. They would then form a human bridge, well, a toy bridge, for the little bunny to cross and reach safety. The little carrot muncher would then run into the forest and tell all the animals what happened and how he was rescued. Only after that would the animals approach Buzz's distant cousins, and they would share some affection and spend a few peaceful, calming moments together. Stopping to think about it, if this scene had been animated, that moment with the animals, which was already pretty cool, would make even more sense, don't you agree?
Fewer horses and more animals. Another scene that would also be different and also involves the army of action figures is the one where the Space Rangers use their mounts to accompany Jessie on the search for Lily Pad. The catch is that in Pixar's original plan, there wouldn't be enough horses for all the Buzz action figures to carry out their duty of following the commands of their supreme leader. In the deleted scene, to solve this situation, some Space Rangers would actually ride the animals they befriended in the forest earlier. To give you an idea, one of them would even use a frog to get around. Other animals that would be used for backup on the rescue op for the Lily Pad tablet would be raccoons and beavers. Even the robot vacuum cleaner that Lily Pad is madly in love with would join the rescue squad. This would definitely be a hilarious scene.
Now if you made it this far, surely something in this video kept you hooked until now. So we certainly deserve your subscription.
Deleted characters. Besides deleted scenes, we also put on our list some characters that were actually created by Pixar, but for one reason or another, they just didn't end up being used. And in this group of deleted characters would be Sheriff Toilet Paper Roll, the Fairy Roll, and also Dr. Paperplate. Following the same logical path from the fourth movie, where Bonnie creates Forky, and at the very end of the movie, she also creates Beverly, The idea was that Toy Story 5 would kick off with Bonnie creating new toys out of some very different materials. The characters would be made out of used household items that theoretically would go straight in the trash, just like it was with Forky. Bonnie would use her creativity to build a cowboy made out of an empty toilet paper roll, and he would have a female companion that would also be another roll, but with long hair and fairy-like wings on her back. Another character created by Bonnie at the beginning of Toy Story 5 would be a doctor who is actually made out of a disposable kid's party plate, who always wears a tie and would be sort of a distant cousin to Forky. On top of these crafty, handmade toys, other characters that would also be in the movie but got cut would be two other girls who would also be part of Bonnie's dance group and, by extension, would also be in the online chat group that LilyPad put Bonnie in. They would also be pretty close to Chelsea, Heidi, and Kara, and they would be at the slumber party Bonnie went to. Unfortunately, neither of their names was revealed, but we do know that one of them would have blonde hair and fair skin, and the other would have light brown skin with a Latin American style and straight brown hair. Furthermore, both of them would each have an alternate version of LilyPad. One of the kids' tablets would be a blue duck version, and the other would be a bee version of LilyPad. This way, these two new tablets would possibly be two more characters that ended up getting scrapped. Another thing that would be different is the fact that in the little playhouse where Blaze's forgotten toys live, there would actually be a lot of other toys besides the pizza slice with sunglasses, Combat Carl in a ballet outfit, the gnome, the flamingo, and the giraffe xylophone. In the art book released by Pixar themselves, we can see that there would also be a very beat-up little red toy car that was missing both front wheels, a blue elephant with a slightly broken trunk, and a pair of twin brothers that would actually be the two handles of a jump rope. And besides them, there would also be a doll that looks just like Jessie, who would be a sort of cowgirl, except she would wear blue and purple clothes, have brown hair, and carry a lasso for catching horses. Sadly, the character's name was never revealed, but it would be really cool to see Jessie make friends with a toy that looks like her, don't you think? At the beginning of the video, we mentioned that the Toy Story creators' initial plan was that Emily and Jessie would reunite. The plot twist is that if this had actually happened, another character would have been cut, and a new one would have been put in his place. That's because Jimmy Dean would be replaced by a goat that would be adult Emily's pet.
Different outfits. In the Toy Story 5 art book, we managed to find out that a few characters would have slightly different outfits from the ones they wore in the movie. For example, Jimmy Dean, who is Blaze's pet pig, would be a pink pig and would wear a clown costume pretty much the entire time he was on screen in the film. The idea was that Blaze had dressed him up like that so he could be the court jester while she would be the queen of the horses. But instead of all that, Jimmy Dean's only outfit is his own coat of fur, which, by the way, isn't even pink, it's actually black. Another character who went through minor changes to his wardrobe was the desperate Dr. Nutcase. According to the sketches released by Pixar, the character would actually wear more formal clothing, living up to his name that includes the title Doctor. But halfway through the process, the crew thought it would be cooler if the action figure dressed like a masked Mexican luchador, which, I gotta admit, turned out pretty awesome too. One of the most interesting scenes in Toy Story 5 was the one where a family going camping ends up driving down the exact same road that the army of Buzzes was on. But one of them gets his foot stuck under a root and ends up being taken by one of the kids. Actually, originally, this new generation of Buzz action figures would have war camouflage instincts hardwired into their programming, and they would wear outfits made of leaves and plants, along with face paint, just like real soldiers heading out to the battlefield. And that's how the kids would stumble upon the Buzz that ended up getting left behind. However, Pixar figured that creating an individual outfit made of leaves and plants for every single one of the 200 Buzz Lightyears that made up the army would cost way too much time and money, and wouldn't really change the plot of the story all that much. For those reasons, they simply scrapped the idea, and it stayed on the drawing board. A different shape. While some Toy Story 5 characters would merely have their clothes swapped out, others would take on a completely different shape. That would be exactly the case for Snappy, that friendly little kid's camera who's pals with Smarty Pants. The Pixar animator's original idea was that she wouldn't just be a standard camera, but a toy with a more childlike design linked to a cute, cuddly animal. So they created a version of Snappy where she would be a panda's head that takes pictures. Another option was for Snappy to have a shape similar to a little pig's head and be pink so it could match better. However, both ideas were tossed out after the team realized that just by having the shape of a traditional camera, most kids watching Toy Story 5 would already be blown away, since a lot of them have never even seen a real camera before in their lives. That makes total sense, since pretty much everyone takes their own photos on their smartphone nowadays, doesn't it?
Our list is over, but you don't have to leave. We've set aside 2 videos right here on the side for you to keep having fun. Pick one, and let's go to the next one.